guys, we shall continue. So we were doing chapter 2. We had discussed residential status of individual in detail in our previous class. We have remaining category of persons with respect to what the residential status we have yet to discuss. Chalo, we'll start with that. Yesterday we are done with 6.1 and 6.6 in detail. Come to this part. The remaining residential status is easy, guys. Yeah, let me read. Residential status of Hindu undivided family, AOP, that is association of person or partnership firms, is covered in section 6.2, whereas body of individual, artificial juridical person and local authorities is covered in section 6.4. But both the sections tell the same criteria. It tells the same thing. The following persons are said to be resident in India if the control and management, pay attention here, the following persons are said to be resident in India if the control and management of the affairs of the assessee concerned is wholly or partly situated in India during the relevant previous year. That is, during our previous year 22-23, if the control and management is in India, whether partly or wholly, then they are said to be resident in India. Now, sir, what is control and management? In simple, where the decisions are taken. Where the decisions are taken. So where the decisions are taken is important and not where it is implemented. Where it is implemented is not important, whereas where it is taken is important. However, if the control and management is situated only outside India, they are considered as what? Non-resident. So even if one decision is taken in India, guys, that is partly control and management is in India. In that case, the following category, whoever we read, will become resident in India. If all the decisions are taken outside India, entirely outside India, only then they become non-resident. Okay. So I have also shown it in the form of chart. If during that previous year, so we have to check even for the following category, whatever we discussed, that is HU of partnership firm, EOP, BOI and all, we have to check the residential status for each and every year. So in that year, if the control and management of its affairs is situated only on affair year means business affair, is situated only or partly in India. Okay, only or partly means even if one decision is taken also resident, guys. Coming to non-resident, if control and management of its affair is situated only outside India during the previous year. Okay, sir, can it change from year to year? Yes, it can change. Okay, for example, in previous year 22-23, with respect to HUF, assume all the decisions was taken in India, it becomes resident. Next year, all the decisions are taken outside India. So in that case, because Karta assume is settled outside India in the next year, so he has taken all the decision somewhere in Dubai. So in that case, the HUF will become non-resident. Means possibility I am telling. The expression control and management means what is control and management? Because that is the key term here to decide. The expression control and management refers to functions of decision making and issuing directions, but not the place from where the business is carried on. You might be carrying on the business anywhere. You might be carrying on the operations anywhere. We are not talking about it. Where decisions are made. Okay, where decisions are made. So control is from that place. If that place is in India, then they are said to be a resident in India. In other words, the control and management means taking policy decisions. So taking policy decisions relating to business, policy decisions are concerning finance, marketing, production, advertising, personnel. It does not mean day-to-day operations of concern, assessee. The control and management is situated at that place where policy decisions are taken. Policy decisions with respect to the operations, guys. Now, sir, what to eat today, what to do today, and all we are taking decisions. So is it considered a policy decisions? No. Clear? So in the long term, for the purpose of business or whatever activity we are carrying on as a HUF, EOP or BOI, whatever activities we are carrying on, with respect to that, whatever policy decisions are taken, where is it taken, we have to check. Sir, assume a partnership firm is there. So in partnership firm, partners are deciding, or one of the partner is deciding what to do today. First 2 hours, what to do. In that case, is it considered as a policy decision? No. Normally, the policy decisions means it affects in the long term. That is at least 1 month, 2 months, 3 months or 1 year. So day-to-day decisions or day-to-day operations, whatever we do, may not be policy decisions. A resident HUF, this is important. See, with respect to HUF only, we check once they become resident whether they are ordinary or not ordinary. Sir, what about the others? Others in the sense partnership firm, AOP, BOI, artificial juridical person and all. They are either resident or non-resident. That's all. No in between there. Clear? Whereas for individuals also we checked. Once they become resident under section 6.1, what did we do? We went to 6.6 and checked whether they are ordinary, not ordinary. Same thing we do here. Once HUF become resident, when the HUF become resident, guys, when control and management is partly or wholly in India. Okay, sir. Next, we go to section 6.6 again and check whether the HUF is ordinary or not ordinary. To decide whether HUF is ordinary or not ordinary, we cannot decide based on how many days HUF was in India, because HUF cannot shift and come back to India. So what we check is Karta's number of days. Clear? So Karta is who? The head of HUF. Head of HUF. So we will check whether Karta is satisfying both the conditions given under section 6.6. If he is satisfying both the conditions given under section 6.6, then HUF will become ordinary resident. HUF will become ordinary resident. So here we are not deciding the residential status of Karta. For Karta, we need to check 6.1 and 6.6. Clear? Here, whatever we are discussing now, to check the residential status, whether the HUF is ordinary or not ordinary, we have to go back to Karta. Whether Karta has satisfied both the conditions given under section 6.6. If yes, then HUF become ordinary resident. If not, then HUF will become not ordinary resident. Clear? So only for individuals and HUF we check whether they are ordinary or not ordinary. Whereas every other category of persons, they are either resident or straight away non-resident. That's all. Only two possibilities. Whereas for individuals and HUF only, there are totally 3 possibilities. Clear? Yes, sir. And actually total 4 it will become. That is resident. So resident is not a separate thing. Once they are resident, we check whether they are ordinary or not ordinary. So 2 possibilities there. Then the last one is non-resident. Non-resident. This is for whom? Individuals and HUF. Whereas for all other category of persons, they are either resident or non-resident. That's all. Okay. Let me read this. A resident HUF would become ordinary resident if Karta of such resident HUF, satisfy or fulfill both the conditions given under section 6.6 as applicable in case of individual. Who is Karta ultimately? Individual only. So if he satisfy both the conditions given under section 6.6, then HUF will become ordinary resident. Now, sir, is it relevant that what is the residential status of Karta? May not be. May not be. See, sometimes even though the Karta is non-resident, can HUF become ordinary resident? Yes, it can become. How is it? For example, assume Karta, who is an individual, he was there in India for previous year 22-23. Please pay attention, guys. This is our previous year. He was there in India for this year only for 50 days. Only for 50 days. None of the conditions given under section 6.1 is satisfied. None of the condition given under section 6.1 is satisfied. So what is Karta now? He is a non-resident. So assume in the past he was completely in India. In the past he was completely in India. So obviously we will not check. For Karta we will not check it. But still you would have satisfied both the condition given under section 6.6. In the past he was completely in India. He has left India only in the current year after staying in India for 50 days. So in the past he was completely in India. So can I tell in 22-23 both the condition given under section 6.6 he has satisfied? Yes, sir. But when Karta is non-resident, we will not go and check whether he is ordinary or not ordinary. But when it comes to HUF, okay, first step for HUF is what? Control and management. Where is it? So assuming control and management of HUF is in India. So they are resident. Yes, sir. Then we need to check whether Karta is satisfying both the condition given under section 6.6. Is he satisfying? Yes. We don't care whether the Karta is ordinary na, not ordinary na, non-resident. But is he satisfying both the condition? Yes, sir. So automatically HUF will become what? Ordinary resident. Clear? Means I am just telling there is a possibility that where Karta is non-resident, but still HUF will become ordinary resident. Clear? Now, let us change the scenario. Sir, assume Karta is ordinary resident. Karta is ordinary resident. And HUF's control and management is in India. What is the residential status of HUF? Hey, listen carefully. Again, so you guys will be looking to me, but somewhere or what? I will repeat once again. Karta is ordinary resident in India in previous year 22-23. Now, control and management of HUF is in India. What is the residency status of HUF? Ordinary resident. Ordinary resident. Because when Karta will become ordinary resident? When he has satisfied both the condition. So it is understood that he has satisfied both this condition. Okay, so automatically HUF will also become ordinary resident. Clear? Yes. So all these are, see, simple provision only, but still they may twist and turn, guys, the questions. Okay. If Karta fails to satisfy any of the conditions specified under section 6.6, then the HUF would become what? Not ordinary resident in the relevant previous year. Okay. Coming to the notes. Only for HUF we check additional condition. As I told you, for all other category of person, whoever is covered under section 6.2.6.4, there are other category of people also who are covered here. For them, only resident or non-resident. That's all. Okay. Coming to notes. It is immaterial whether Karta is resident or non-resident during the relevant previous year for the purpose of determining whether HUF is resident and ordinary resident or resident and not ordinary resident. If Karta satisfy both the additional condition, then HUF will become ordinary resident. Otherwise, not ordinary resident. Whatever example I gave, first example. Clear? In my first example, Karta was non-resident. But still, he satisfied both the condition given under section 6.6. So what happened? The residential status of HUF became ordinary. So there can be a situation like that. Next. Firms, association of persons, local authority and other artificial juridical person can be either resident, that is straight away they will be ordinary, or non-resident in India. But they cannot be not ordinary resident in India. So whereas for all other category of persons except individual and HUF, they will be either resident or non-resident. Resident means straight away they are ordinary only. We will treat them as ordinary itself. No question of not ordinary for them. Even for AOP, BOI and all. It is here the AOP, BOI and all is not mentioned. You can just add it there. Yeah. Third one. It is entirely irrelevant where the business is done or carried on and where the income has been earned. What is relevant and material is from which place that business has been controlled and managed. Where income is earned, whether it is taxable or not and all, we will see in section 5. What is important to decide residential status is where the control is. Where the control means where the decisions are made. The mere fact that all the partners are resident in India does not necessarily lead to the conclusion that the firm is resident in India, because there may be cases where even though the partners are resident in India, control and management of the affairs of the firm is exercised from outside India. Okay, because sometimes they may confuse you by giving like this. There is a partnership firm where there are 3 partners, all the 3 partners are resident in India. Does it straight away tell partnership firm is also resident in India? No, we have to check where the decisions are made. Now assume all these 3 partners went for a vacation for Bali. There they took all the decisions. So in that case, where the control and management is? In Bali, not in India. Okay, I'm just telling the possibility. Sir, how come they do like that? You don't ask. Yeah, chalo, means just a possibility, because sometimes they may confuse you by giving like this. There is a partnership firm where all the partners are resident in India. What is the residential status of partnership firm? Which again depends on control and management only. Next, coming to HUF. A Hindu undivided family would generally be presumed to be resident in India because it is existence in India. So we will understand that it is always resident in India unless the assessee proves to the tax authorities that the control and management of the affairs is situated only outside India during the relevant accounting year. But for exam sake and all, they may twist turn the question. But normally HUF is considered to be resident in India. Yeah. Where are you taking? Again, we have to check that only. Even if you are taking it virtually, where are you taking it is important.
People are in India.
Partly in India. Na? Partly. That is why they are told. Even if it is partly, because we cannot completely prove. Okay, sir, where is that? Where is this? And even if one small decision is taken in India also, control and management is in India. Kaushik. First, we have to check where decisions are taken, sir. Yes, for HUF. So HUF also has two steps. First is control and management step. Second is once it is passed, we will go and check whether Karta is satisfying both the condition given under section 6.6. We will do the problems on the same. Yeah, first let us do the problems on the same. Company we will do it later. Come to the problems. So we have done good number of problems on the residential status of individuals. Do practice all those things, guys. Mallar Murthy, sir, HUF and Karta. Yeah. Okay. Listen here. For HUF, listen guys. For HUF, first we check where is control and management. If it is partly or only in India, then they are resident. Okay. If not, they are non-resident. And once HUF becomes resident, we go and check whether they are ordinary or not ordinary. And how to check? Bring the Karta, who is the head of a HUF. So if Karta satisfies both the condition given under section 6.6, then HUF will become ordinary resident. If not, the HUF will become not ordinary resident. Yeah, yes, Sanskar. Sir, if the decision and management is outside India, but it has a place of business in India, that doesn't matter, sir. That is what they are told. Where the business is carried on, where the profits are earned, where the income is earned, we are not seeing here. To decide residential status. To check the taxability, we will see all those things, where income is earned, where it is received and all. But now to decide the residential status, we are only concerning or only we are focusing on where the decisions are taken. That's all. Business might be carried on in India or outside India. Income might be earned in India or outside India. Income might be received in India, outside India, that and all. As for section 6, we are not concerned about. Yeah, chalo guys. Come to question number 10. ABC HUFs whole affairs of business are completely controlled from India. Completely controlled from India means it is understood that the control and management is in India. Determine its residential status for assessment year 23-24 if three scenarios are there. If Karta is ordinary resident in India for that year. What is it, guys? If Karta is ordinary resident, then what will be the HUF's residential status? Ordinary resident. Okay. Next. If Karta is non-resident in India, but he satisfies both the additional conditions. One example what I give. Still, HUF will be ordinary resident. Then, if Karta is not ordinary resident in India, when will Karta become not ordinary resident? Sir, he has satisfied 6.1, but not 6.6. So, when he has not satisfied 6.6, what is the residential status of HUF? Not ordinary resident. Yes, take down the solution. I will first explain the provision. Take down. Why will HUF satisfy, sir? 6.1 is not applicable for HUF, na? 6.1 is only for individual. Okay, because see, simple logic. HUF cannot stay in India, go out India. They cannot trip around. They cannot travel. 6.1 is purely for individuals. Yeah, chalo, take down. Applicable provision. Applicable provision. As per section 6, subsection 2, means hope you guys know how to write 6 subsection 2 like this. As per section 6 subsection 2, comma, HUF would become resident in India. HUF would become resident in India if the control and management of its affairs during the previous year or during the relevant previous year, right? During the relevant previous year is in India. During the relevant previous year is in India. Full stop, continue. Full stop, continue. If the control and management is only outside India, if the control and management is only outside India, comma, then HF would become non-resident in India. Then HF would become non-resident in India. Then HF would become non-resident in India. Full stop. Next line. You can leave one line also. Further, the HF would become ordinary resident in India. Further, the HF would become ordinary resident in India if the karta of the HF, if the karta of such HF you take, if the karta of such HF, if the karta of such HF satisfies both the conditions, given under section 6.6. Full stop. Continue. If the karta fails to satisfy, if the karta fails to satisfy any one, or both the conditions, any one or both the conditions given under section 6.6, both the conditions given under section 6.6, comma, then HF would become resident but not ordinary resident. Resident but not ordinary resident. Done? See, this is like common provision for all the three sub questions. So that is why we are written on the top. Next, we will start answering one by one. A. First A. He has to satisfy both the conditions, sir. Kaushik. Then only HF will become ordinary. And what I gave below was different. If you don't satisfy any one or both the conditions, then HF will become not ordinary resident. Yeah, take down guys. A. Solution for A. If karta is ordinary resident in India, he would have satisfied both the condition given under section 6.6. He would have satisfied both the condition given under section 6.6. Next line, full stop, next line. Also, the control and management of the HEF, is completely in India. Full stop, next line. Therefore, HUF is HUF is ordinary resident in India. HUF is ordinary resident in India for assessment year 23-24. For assessment year 23-24. This is the answer for A. Then next B. If Karta is non-resident in India but he satisfies both the additional conditions, you take down like this. The HUF would still be, or simply write like this, the HUF would be ordinary resident in India the HUF would be ordinary resident in India as Karta has satisfied both the conditions given under section 6.6 both the conditions given under section 6.6 both the conditions given under section 6.6 irrespective of Karta's residential status. Irrespective of Karta's residential status. So in this case, Karta is non-resident, but still HUF would become ordinary resident. So while deciding the residential status of HUF, residential status of Karta is not important. What is important for us is whether he is satisfying both the condition given under section 6.6 or not. That's all. Last one. C. Yeah, let us go to the C. If Karta is not ordinary resident, so what do you understand from this? He has not satisfied both the condition given under section 6.6. Take down. Yeah. Third one, C. Karta would become not ordinary resident. Karta would become not ordinary resident. Karta would become not ordinary resident. Karta would become not ordinary resident if he fails to satisfy both the condition. If he fails to satisfy both the conditions, given under section 6.6. Given under section 6.6. Full stop. Next line. Hence, the residential status of HUF. The name of the HUF also is given. You can use ABC HUF anta. Hence, the residential status of ABC HUF. If you already written HUF, fine. HUF is not ordinary resident. During the assessment year 23-24. During the assessment year 23-24. Yeah, done, huh? Yeah, fine. Let us go to the next question. Hindu undivided family is being managed partly from Mumbai and partly from Japan. Resident or non-resident? Resident. Okay, first step is already over for HUF. They are resident. The Karta of HUF is a foreign citizen. Citizenship is not important here and comes to a visit in India every year since 1980 in the month of April for 105 days. So from 1980, every year is coming to India for 105 days for a visit. Okay. Yes, sir. To visit only. Yes. So is the foreign citizen first of all. So is not covered in exception. Clear? So what we have to check whether is satisfying the both the condition given under section 6.6. Determine the residency status of HUF is asked, but for which we also have to refer to Karta part. Clear? So first step is Karta is a resident. Next we have to check whether they are ordinary or not ordinary resident. So come to section 6.6. Just a second. I will just refer to my working here. Yeah. So for me this part is important now with respect to Karta. So Karta is resident in 2 years out of 10 years preceding 22-23. Leave 22-23. Go back to last 10 years. Check in that 10 years, is he satisfying any one of this condition? Any one of this condition. So obviously he is not satisfying this condition. Whereas second condition you check. I am talking about last 10 years, not 22-23. Clear? Because 22-23 is relevant for 6.1, which I am not bothered about. Clear? Yes, sir. So 60 days, yes, in previous year 22-23 and 365 days. 4 into 105 you do. So definitely more than 365 days. So in the last 10 years, is he satisfying this condition? In all 10 years he is satisfying it. So automatically he will become resident. So at least 2 years is resident. Yes, sir. First condition satisfied. Then coming to second condition. 730 days or more during 7 years preceding previous year. So leave our previous year 22-23. Last 7 years, how many days he was in India? 105 into 7. How much is that? 7? 35. So that is exactly more than 730 days. So in that case, he is satisfying this condition also. He is satisfying this condition also. So now tell me, what is the residential status of HUF? Ordinary resident. Ordinary resident. Sir, this is related to 6.1 in the past, no, sir? No, sir, that is what I am telling. Yes, that is true only. We have to check only the 6.6 conditions only. But this is again interlinked with 6.1, na? To the past. To the past. So what is first condition under section 6.6 is telling? You should be resident in at least 2 years out of 10 years, not 22-23. Take the last 10 years. To check that, what should I do? I should go and check 6.1. Okay, last 10 years, have you satisfied any one condition given under section 6.1 anta? That is just to check whether you are resident or non-resident Allah. In that year, have you satisfied this condition? To check whether you are satisfied this condition, I need to check whether you are resident in that year anta. That is why. Because see, this for this purpose we are referring back. That's all. Okay. So in the previous question, if you ask me, one of the B case, Karta was non-resident, but still he was satisfying both the condition. So for that purpose, we don't care whether did he satisfy this two conditions in previous year anta. But what is important for us, did he satisfy both the condition given under section 6.6? That is more relevant for us. But now as number of days scenario is given, we have to refer back to 6.1 to check whether he is satisfying this first condition, only for that purpose. Sir, what is the need to check 6.1? Just now I explained the same thing. Yeah, chalo guys, come back. Take the solution. Applicable provision, same story again you have to explain. Now I am not again covering it. Applicable provision, you will write same thing. Take down. As the AS. As the HUF is partly managed from Mumbai, as the HUF is partly managed from Mumbai, in bracket you can write India or part of India. So they can use the name of some important cities like this. Okay, they will not use like small village name and all. Definitely they will use some important city names where you should know where it is anta. Yeah, what did I tell? As the HUF is partly managed from Mumbai, comma, the control and management of HUF, the control and management of HUF is partly in India, is partly in India, is partly in India, is partly in India, full stop. Next line you take. Hence, HUF is resident in India. Hence, HUF is resident in India. Next line you take. You can leave one line space also. The Karta of HUF, the Karta of HUF is coming to India, is coming to India for a visit, every year for 105 days, for 105 days since 1980, since 1980, full stop. Next line you continue. He has satisfied both the condition given under section 6.6, both the conditions given under section 6.6 both the conditions given under section 6.6 as follows. As follows. Put a small dash, under that you write first point 1. As he is coming to India, and staying for 105 days, and staying for 105 days every year, and staying for 105 days every year, staying for 105 days every year, comma, he would have satisfied the second condition given under section 6.1, the second condition given under section 6.1, the second condition given under section 6.1. Okay, if you guys want, you can explain that also, like how he has satisfied on that. So I am straight away continuing. He has satisfied second condition under section 6.1 in all the 10 years, in all the 10 years preceding the previous year, in all the 10 years preceding the previous year. For me, even if you satisfy for 2 years, it's enough. Okay, but actually in the guess, he is satisfying in all the 10 years, guys. In all the 10 years preceding the previous year. Did you guys get the clarity on this? Okay, so here, just to check whether section 6.6 first condition is satisfied, we have to refer back to 6.1. That's all. Okay, in the last 10 years, at least in 2 years, if he is covered in any one point under section 6.1, he would have become resident in that year. So that makes satisfying of the first condition under section 6.6. Clear, sir? Yeah. Second point. He stayed in India he stayed in India. He stayed in India for 735 days. He stayed in India for 730 days. 735 days. In bracket you write more than 730 days. In bracket you write more than 730 days. Close the bracket. During 7 years preceding the previous year. During 7 years preceding the previous year. Don't simply write 7 years anta. Okay, that is also like not the complete answer. You have to complete it. During 7 years preceding the previous year. Yeah, full stop. So this two sentences explains that he has satisfied both the conditions given under section 6.6. Leave one line gap and write conclusion. Therefore, HUF is ordinary resident in India. See, we call it as like ordinary resident, or else you can write like this also, guys. Resident and ordinary resident. HUF is ordinary resident in India for assessment year 23-24. For assessment year 23-24. Yeah, done. Kaushik. They are given only in April, sir. The month of April. Sorry, he's coming in April but staying for 105 days. Okay, we know that April is not having 105 days, but still he's coming in April and staying for 105 days. And date also they are not exactly given. Okay, he might be coming in any day in the April and staying here in India for 105 days. Yeah, chalo, 12th question. X, Y and Co is a partnership firm whose operations are carried out in India. However, operations are carried out in India. Okay. However, all meetings of partners takes place where? Outside India. Outside India. As all the partners are settled abroad. Yes. So what will be the residential status of partnership firm now? Determine residential status. Resident or non-resident? Non-resident. Non-resident. Take down. Take down. The residential status of partnership firm for assessment year 23-24 is non-resident as the control and management is entirely outside India. Is entirely outside India. They have given all the meetings are held outside India. So obviously it is entirely outside India. As the control and management is entirely outside India. Chalo. Next, we'll go to the next question. The business of HUF is transacted from Australia and all the business policy decisions are taken there. So in Australia only. So is it a resident or non-resident, guys? Non-resident, because control and management is completely outside India. Mr. E, the Karta of HUF, who was born in Kolkata, visits India during previous year 22-23. So he is an Indian citizen visiting India, guys. During previous year 22-23, after 15 years. So he is coming to India after 15 years. So be careful with the past. Okay. So 6.6 we have to check now. So actually here we need not check 6.6. but I think they have asked the residential status of E also, for which we need to check. Yeah, so after 15 years, he is coming to India during our previous year. Okay. He comes to India on 1st April and leaves for Australia on 1st December. So we have to count the number of days, including 1st April and 1st December, both. Determine the residential status of Mr. A and HUF for assessment year 23-24. Come on, guys. HUF is straight away non-resident. Then you need not check whether ordinary or not ordinary also. Now coming to individual, who is a Karta. So he is coming on 1st April and going it on 1st December. How many days? Come on, quickly. Include both the days. Include both the days. Date of arrival and date of departure, both has to be considered to be in India. Kirtana, do it. 275. Any other answers? 245. So here also 245, 245, Ishwar 275. How come so much difference you get? 1 or 2 days if it is different, fine. 245, 275, 2 different answers we have got. Yeah. Okay, I don't know what is the correct answer. We'll check it. So because 2 different answers, that too, there is a big margin there. 245. Okay, let us see. Take down in calculator. Means just do it in calculator. 30 days in April, 31 in May. Keep on adding it, okay? So 30 days in April, 31 in May, 30 June, 31 in July, 31 in August, 30 in September, 31 in October, 30 in November, plus 1 in December. Plus 1 in December. 245. 245. Then what did you consider? One more extra month. So you thought 1st January for New Year is leaving. So 1st December is leaving. So we have to count only till 1st December, guys. Okay. Chalo, let us see the answer. So, okay, first conclusion. So 245. So is he a resident? First condition is satisfied. First condition is satisfied. First of all, second condition is not at all applicable for him. Okay. So first condition under section 6.1 is satisfying. So is he a resident? Yes, sir. Then coming to 6.6. Now 6.6 we are checking not for the purpose of HUF, for the purpose of Karta only. Why? Because HUF is already non-resident. We don't care about it now. Okay, but still, now we need to check whether Karta, that is who is an individual, is he a ordinary or not ordinary. So now they have clearly given in the int in the question that he is coming to India after 15 years. So in the history, if I check last 10 years or last 7 years, he was not at all in India. So no question of resident in India in last 10 years, and also no question of number of days, that 730 days also is not satisfied. So straight away he will become what? Not ordinary resident. Yeah. Yes. Kaushik, for Karta who is individual, we have to check 6.1, sir. Yes, sir. Because here they have asked the residential status of individual also, who is a Karta. For this question, we have to check. See, please don't get confused, guys. Please be very clear. In this question, they have asked both the residential status. That is the residential status of HUF as well as Karta. That is why we are doing. So answer also I have given separately. Yeah, let me read it once. Residential status of Mr. E, who is a Karta. In bracket, if you guys want, you can mention Karta. During previous year 22-23, Mr. E has stayed in India for 245 days. Okay, that is like count also, you can show it in bracket. Therefore, sir, can I show like April how many days, May how many days? That will take long time. Okay, because some of the suggested answers would have given like that. But I don't suggest you guys to do that. Okay, like April how many, May how many. So it will be more time taking. So it's better just to give the count like this in the bracket, guys. Therefore, he is resident in India. However, since he has come to India after 15 years, he does not satisfy both the condition given under section 6.6 for being ordinary resident. Therefore, the residential status of Mr. E for the previous year 22-23 is resident but not ordinary resident. Clear? Yes, sir. And see, one second. See, if this type of question is asked for 3 marks, you assume, stick to this only, guys. Stick to the answer whatever I have given here. If it is asked for 5 or 6 marks, first what you have to do? Applicable provision you have to write. Clear? Sir, if the same question is asked for 3 marks, nothing wrong in writing applicable provision. But for the required marks, whatever you are giving the answer is more. Clear? Because you have to explain the answer, obviously. And just if you are explaining the provision, you will not get full marks. So sometimes we have to stick to whatever they have asked in the question depending upon the marks, guys. Clear? I repeat, if the same question is asked for 5 or 6 marks, what you have to do is, before this, you have to write applicable provision. You have to explain both 6.1 as well as 6.6. Clear? Then here also, for residential status of HUF, you have to explain 6.2 and then start your answer. If the question is for 3 marks, stick to whatever I have given here. Stick to whatever is given here. Means here only I have told the answer also, and I have explained why is that also. Why is that also? Chalo. Next, residential status of HUF. Since the business of HUF is transacted from Australia and policy decisions are taken there, it is assumed that the control and management is only in Australia. Assumed better. It is understood that you take. Not. Yeah. Understood that the control and management is wholly in Australia. That is, the control and management is wholly outside India. Therefore, the HUF is non-resident in India for previous year 22-23. When HUF is non-resident, we don't check whether Karta is satisfying both the condition and section 6 or not. Yeah. In this case, in this same question, assume if by chance HUF was resident, then we will go and check whether the Karta is satisfying both the condition given under section 6.6 or not. Is not satisfying. So automatically even HUF will become not ordinary resident. Yeah, I'm just consider the other possibility. Yes, take down, guys. Applicable provisions I have not given here. Straight away I have given the answers along with the reasons. Malar Murthy, sir, once HUF is non-resident and then no need to check whether ordinary or not ordinary. No need. Only for who is resident, we check whether they are ordinary or not ordinary. Both for individuals as well as HUF. Kaushik, sir, year 23-24 or 22-23? Sir, previous year means 22-23. Assessment year means 23-24. Kaushik. In the answer I have mentioned previous year. If you mention assessment year, it will be 23-24.
After crossing the border, they connected to Bangladesh server, they received their meeting.
Where ultimately decision is taken? India na Bangladesh? Conclusion where it has happened, sir. Discussion happened in India, started in India. Where conclusion happened?
While crossing India border.
Then considered to be in India only. Okay, that is very unique, rare case. But still, if it happens, okay, the way he's thinking, if just imagine like you only if the paper setter is there and if he said the questions like this and done. Chalo. So we are left with one last category of person. What is that? Company. Yeah. Chalo. Company is also easy only. Yeah, subsection 2. Okay, I have mentioned here, na? Just a second. Okay, see here, there are 2 sections which are covered, 6.2 and 6.4, but the criteria is same. The criteria is same. 6.2 will come under like HUF, AOP firms falls under 6.2, whereas the remaining people falls under 6.4. Artificial juridical person. Anyone who is not falling in the first categories, previous categories, we will fall under artificial juridical person, like education institution, hospitals and all. Yeah, chalo guys. Residential status of companies, section 6, subsection 3. A company is said to be resident in India if in any previous year, means for our previous year, it is 22-23. If it is an Indian company, it is always resident. Okay, sir. In case of other companies, that is other than Indian company, we may call it as foreign company, where its place of effective management, that is in short we call it as POEM. Place of effective management, in short we call it as POEM, but you guys have to use full forms only in the answers. In that year is in India. So Indian company, no matter where the POEM is or where the decisions are taken, it is always resident in India. But when it comes to other than Indian company, which is nothing but like a foreign company, they will become resident in India only if poem is in India. Okay, poem means what? Place of effective management, which again means where decisions are taken. In case of companies, where decisions will be taken is where board meetings are held. Where board meetings are held. Okay, chalo. In any other case, the company shall be considered as non-resident. There is no question of ordinary and not ordinary resident in case of company. See guys, all these things, they may twist and turn and ask MCQ question. Please be careful. Now tell me, can Indian company become non-resident in any year? No chance. Indian company will always be resident in India. Whereas coming to other than Indian company, can they become resident or non-resident both? Yes, both the options are open for them. When they will be resident in India? If poem is in India. So even there also, partly also. Clear? Means even if one decision is taken here, and there is a criteria to decide when poem is said to be in India, which you guys would be learning at final level. Clear? Means, sir, when it comes to company, it is not so easy to decide where poem is held or where the poem is. So there is a criteria given for it under the act only, but it is not covered for you at inter level. Okay. So now simple, if poem is in India for other than Indian company, it is resident, if not non-resident. Okay. Notes. Indian company is always a resident company, irrespective of where its poem functions. Because sometimes they may confuse you like this. ABC Limited is an Indian company whose poem is completely outside India. What's its residential status? It will still be resident only. Okay. So the concept of poem is relevant only in case of foreign company. Okay. From assessment year 1718, a foreign company will be resident in India. This concept was introduced from 1718. Before that, poem concept was not there for companies. So from assessment year 1718, a foreign company will be resident in India if its place of effective management during the previous year is in India. For this purpose, the place of effective management means a place where key management and commercial decisions that are taken. So key management and commercial decisions that are necessary for the conduct of business of an entity as a whole are in substance made. So simple, where decisions are taken is important. Again, here also, where business is conducted, where they are earning the profit, where they are earning the income is not at all important. Who are the shareholders? All those things will not bother here. Whereas poem is only important. Now, sir, can residential status of foreign company change from year to year? Yes, it can change. Because if poem 1 year, it might be in India, poem in another year might be outside India. Accordingly, it will become resident and non-resident. Whereas Indian company will always be resident in India. It is understood that it will always be resident in India. So I have also given a chart here. Indian company always resident in India. Whereas foreign company, the resident only if poem is in India. If not, it will be non-resident. Okay. A general point to remember. It must be noted that only an individual or HUF can be an ordinary resident or not ordinary resident or non-resident in India. So with respect to individual and HUF, there are three possibilities. There are three possibilities. Yes, sir. Whereas all other assessees can be either resident or non-resident in India, but cannot be not ordinary resident in the matter of their residential status for all the purposes of Income Tax Act. So except individual and HUF, everyone will be either resident or non-resident. Only two possibilities. And resident means it is understood that they are ordinary straight away. Clear? Straight away they are ordinary. So only two possibilities are there. That is resident or non-resident, including company. Section 6.5. Karta, Mallar Murthy, sir, if poem partly in India, see that is not the criteria here. Whether poem is in India or not, how to decide it, they have given the criteria. Okay, we have to check where the active business is there and all. Okay, where the majority of the board of meetings are held, we have to check that, which is not covered for you. So you need not worry. How to decide whether the poem is in India or outside India, you will be learning it at final level. Okay. Yes, there are certain conditions to be checked there. Will Indian company converts to foreign company? Sir, that conversion and all, if it has happened, then from the year of conversion for foreign company, whatever is the rule is applicable. Means we have to check the poem. Yeah, chalo, 6.5. This is also important. 6.5 will tell, sir, there might be different sources of income what I am earning. We have totally 5 heads of income. So now, depending upon the source of income and head of income, will residential status change? No. Residential status remains same. It will not change as per the source of income. And also, residential status has to be checked for each and every year. Each and every year. Yeah, that is what is given in section 6.5. One residential status for all sources of income in an assessment year, that is residential status of assessee not change for different sources of income. And residential status of any assessee will be checked for every assessment year separately. Assessment year or previous year, it will be checked for every year separately. Okay, means just because last year you were resident, that doesn't mean that, or it is not implied that this year also you will be resident. But in few cases, for example, like Indian company and all, it is understood there that they will always be resident in India. But for every category of person, we have to check it separately for each and every year. Because like here, sir, can Indian company be converted into foreign company? Yes, in that case, you have to check what is the conditions applicable for foreign company in that year. Yes. Now, next, I have also given the definitions of company, domestic company, as well as like foreign company, Indian company, closely held company and all. Sir, these are the definitions not given in Companies Act. It is the definitions given in Income Tax Act. Clear? Sir, will they ask us to define this companies and all? May not be, because for income tax that is not important. But to know, sir, which is Indian company, which is not Indian company, you should know all this. Clear? At least if you don't know as it is, sir, they will not ask you, they may not ask you to define Indian company, domestic company and all, but you should know who is covered under domestic company or which company is covered under Indian company and all. Clear? We'll quickly go through it once. Yeah. Company 2 clause 17, and you need not remember the section number. For inter level, not so important, guys. Yeah. Company means any Indian company. So what is Indian company? We will understand later. So every Indian company will be a company. Okay. Any body corporate incorporated outside India or under the law of foreign country, means any company registered outside India. Here they are not using the word company, because in foreign country and all they term it differently, incorporation and all. So that is why any body corporate incorporated outside India or under the law of foreign country. Means if I am a company, assume Facebook or now Meta or Microsoft, all these are the companies which are incorporated outside India under their respective law. So will we treat them also as company for India purpose? Yes, under income tax. Next, any institution, association or body, whether incorporated or not, and whether Indian or non-Indian, which is declared by general or special order of the CBDT to be a company. So normally your category is not Indian, sorry, not company. You are like either association of person or any institution like educational institution, hospital institution or something. But the CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes, have declared you to be a company by a way of order, general order or special order. They have told that you are a company. So in that case only you will become a company. Okay. Next, coming to domestic company. What is domestic company? This is important, guys, because even for tax rates, there are different rate applicable for domestic company. There is different rate applicable for foreign company. So it is good if you guys know what exactly is domestic company, what exactly is foreign company. Domestic company means an Indian company again. Okay. What is Indian company we'll be covering later after this. So every Indian company is a domestic company. Okay. Then any other company in respect of its income liable to income tax has made the following arrangements for declaration and payment of dividend, including preference dividend. So if the company other than Indian company, if they have made any arrangement for the declaration and payment of equity dividend or preference dividend within India means the dividend is declared and paid within India. In that case, the three conditions are there. What are those? The share register of the company. Share register is the register where the names of the shareholders will be maintained. The share register of a company for all the shareholders should be maintained at its principal place of business. We call it as corporate office within India as on 1st April of relevant assessment year. So for example, whoever was the shareholder for previous year 22-23, whoever was the shareholder for 22-23, the share registered has to be maintained in India as on 1st April 23. as on the first day of the relevant assessment year. Okay. So the first condition here is share register has to be maintained in India. Then the general meeting for passing of accounts, that is annual general meeting for passing of accounts of the relevant previous year for declaring dividend should be held at a place within India. So in simple, the general meeting or annual general meeting we call, this is a meeting of shareholders. Yeah, and this topics are what is annual general meeting or what is share register and all is purely corporate law or company law topics which you will be learning in law subject. Okay, so annual general meeting is the meeting of the shareholders where they decide or where they discuss what all has happened throughout the year, and they also pass some resolutions. There are two types of resolution, ordinary and special resolution, which they would be passing it. Okay, sir. So what is the second condition? Annual general meeting for passing account should be held in India. Okay. The last one, the dividends declared, if any, should be payable only within India to all the shareholders. To all the shareholders. Whatever dividend you are declaring, it should be paid to all the shareholders in India. Even if it is paid to one or two shareholders outside India also, you are not satisfying this condition, so you will not become a domestic company. Clear? All three conditions has to be satisfied. All three conditions has to be satisfied in order to become domestic company. But sir, is this conditions applicable for Indian company? No. The second whatever B point under that three conditions are there, it is applicable only for a company which is not an Indian company. Yes, who called, sir? Yeah. No. For Indian company, no conditions at all. Okay, Indian company will always be domestic company, irrespective of where they declare dividend and all. See, just a clarification again. So these things are applicable only for B point. 1, 2, 3 points, whatever is there, or conditions, whatever is there, it is applicable to other than Indian company, not Indian company. Indian company will always be domestic. Now, sir, what is foreign company? Foreign company means a company which is not a domestic company. This is the definition given. Okay, foreign company means a company which is not a domestic company. Anything which is not covered under section 222A will become foreign company. Okay. Now, Indian company. This is also one of the important definition, because we have understood that, sir, always Indian company is domestic company, and always for Indian company it will be resident in India. Now, what is Indian company? Who is covered there? Simple meaning, guys. Okay, so here actually definition they have complicated just to cover all the companies which would have registered in the past and all. Clear? Simple. If there is any company which is registered under Indian Companies Act, they are Indian company. Clear? It might be 2013 Act, it might be 1956 Act, or before that. Before that, any act. Because see, before independence and all, there were multiple laws. British law, French law, that this law and all. So in India, if you are registered under any law which was applicable on that particular day, which was applicable for the companies, you are treated as Indian company. You are treated as Indian company. As on today, yes, Companies Act 2013 only is there entirely applicable for India. But because there are companies who are registered in 1800, 700 or some before independence and all. So during that time, some other law was applicable. Even though you are registered under that law, you are still treated as Indian company. Yeah. Chalo. It means a company formed and registered under the Companies Act, and the registered office or the principal office of the company should be in India. That is, the corporate office should be in India. That is also important. You are registered under the Companies Act in India, that is Indian Companies Act, plus your principal place of business should be in India. Means principal office, corporate office we call it as, should be in India. Headquarters we call it now, same thing. Next, the expression Indian company also includes the following provided their registered office or principal office is in India. So it also covers the following items if their principal office or registered office is in India. So what are those? These are the cases what I told. A company formed and registered under any law relating to companies formerly in force in any part of India. So if by chance in the past, if there was any law with respect to company and you are registered under that law in India, then you are always Indian company. You are always Indian company. Okay. Next, a corporation established by or under a central state or provincial act. Like for example, State Financial Corporation or State Highway Corporation, so or like Indian Highway Corporation or Food Corporation of India. So all this also are treated as Indian company. Next, any institution, association or body which is declared by the board to be a company. This is was covered under company definition also, na? So there is some any institution which is declared by the board. Board here means which board? CBDT. CBDT. So if CBDT has declared any institution, association or any other body to be a company, they will straight away become what? Indian company. Okay, next. A company formed and registered under any law for the time being in force in the state of Jammu Kashmir, and also a company formed and registered under any law for the time being in force in the union territories of Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, Pondicherry and state of Goa. Clear? So as of now, everywhere Indian Companies Act only is applicable, guys. So if any company is getting registered under Companies Act 2013, they are said to be Indian company always. Clear? So this 4-5 points, whatever is there here, if they had formed somewhere in the past under any law which was applicable on that day, whatever law was applicable with respect to company like British law, French law, whatever law it was, so still you are considered to be a Indian company as of now also. Clear? You will be treated as Indian company provided one condition, attached condition is there. What is it? Its registered office or principal office should be in India. It should be in India. Yeah. Chalo. So for you, sir, is this 5 points important for us? No. Okay, so this 5 points is not important for us. What is important is this part. So if any company who is registered under the Companies Act of India, whether this 2013 Act or 1956 Act, and if their principal office is in India, they're Indian company. That's all. Okay. Sure. Close the, because other points and all is like outdated points. Okay, but still it is a part of definition. But all other points, whatever like A to E I read, it was almost like outdated as of now. But this, yeah, this is there. Just a second. This and this might be relevant even today. That corporation established and the institution or association declared by the board. Yeah. Next, closely held company. Closely held company means, see, we know something called as private limited company and public company. Na? So for income tax purpose, they may not use the term like that. Private limited, public limited, they may not use. They use the different words. What is it? Closely held company. Closely held company means a company in which public are not substantially interested. Means public is not bothered what is happening there. Clear? Because public is not holding any shares in that company. So what do we call that company as? Private limited company. Private limited company. So closely held company is nothing but like a private limited company, guys. Clear? So I repeat, closely held company means a company in which the public are not substantially interested. Then the reverse is the company in which the publics are substantially interested. We call it as widely held company. Widely held company for income tax purpose, which is nothing but public company. Which is nothing but public company. There are certain exceptions or restrictions under income tax with respect to closely held company, which we'll be learning in the respective chapters. Clear? Yes. So this is all about the residential status of company as well as the information about the company, guys. Chalo.
Section 6 and Section 5 is applicable to all kind of persons.
Every category of person. 6 and 6.5 is common for all the category of person. Means for every year we have to determine the residency status separately, and once we determine the residency status, it is same for all the sources of income and all the heads of income. It will not change from source to source or from head to head. Okay, fine, guys. So we'll stop it here. And we'll continue after the break with section 5. We are done with section 6, guys. We'll continue after the break. Take a break.